Hi, I'm Kelly Hogan, and welcome back to my Zero Carb Life. Today, I have Wendy here. This is Wendy Varner, and she is from my 12 o'clock Monday class. And this week, when we were on our group call, Wendy was so cheerful when she talked to our group about why she plans to not cheat this holiday season. And I said, Man, I really enjoyed talking to you. We should go on YouTube. And she's like, Okay. So here she is. Thank you for coming to talk to me, Wendy. So my first
Oh,
question
heck.
is, does it drive you crazy when people call it cheating? Like, does that feel like an accurate term to you? I cheated?
I would more say it's going off plan because for me, this is not a diet. This is how I live my life. A lot of times we'll have things at work and I'll say, I can't have that. And I'm like, nope, I choose not to. I choose not
Oh,
to have that. And it really reframes how I approach things. So,
yeah. I like that. Also, a cheat, if we were playing a game and I cheated, it's to get myself ahead, right? And in
right.
this
Yeah.
case, I mean, this would be like a really successful roofer purposely bashing his finger, knowing good and well
Yeah.
it's going to hurt, and calling that cheating. We'd be like,
Right.
that's not cheating, that's stupid. Or
Yes.
or a recovered alcoholic having a drink and then his life falls back apart, and we wouldn't call that cheating. We would say, "Oh my gosh, that's addiction. That's relapse.
Yes. Relapse.
That's sad. That's not
Yeah.
cheating." Well, cheating sounds way too cute. Like we're
Cute.
yeah, this isn't cute. Or if somebody were to choose, I'm going to go drink some antifreeze because it tastes good, even though I know it's poison. That's not cheating. That's like slow suicide. So I don't know.
Yep.
That that term isn't my favorite. So yes, I prefer go off plan. I've heard Dr. Lisa Wiedemann say to go into the carb ditch is how
Okay.
she terms. Yeah, however we want to think of it. But tell me this, what are your personal reasons for why you do not plan to go off plan or cheat or into the carb ditch this holiday season?
I have struggled with obesity my whole entire life. My parents and my brother and sister, very naturally thin. My mom would drag me to the doctor because she's like, she's eating what we're eating. What is wrong with her? So from a very young age, I developed I'm fat. And that's all anyone in my family ever wanted to talk about. I would be 12 and come for a holiday and say, a woman I work with is on a diet. Yeah. So it stinks. But I can tell you food noise. I have always had the food noise and I could cry because I don't understand how some people don't have that. How
Yeah.
I could eat dinner, but I know there's Doritos
Yeah.
and those Doritos are screaming at me. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? I don't drink, I don't smoke, but by golly, I eat. I eat and I'm a stress eater. So that's major.
Yeah.
Being carnivore turned off that noise. And I get emotional because I'm 45 and it took until I was
Really?
45.
Well, first of all, you look really good. I just assumed I was much older than you. I am also 45, but you look fantastic.
Thanks.
Okay.
I have a 25 and a 21-year-old. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, you look closer to 25, actually.
I think it's the carnivore, it's the meat.
Fantastic.
So it took till 45 to turn that off.
Okay.
But what it also did, I had chronic back pain. I had hurt my back 2 years prior to starting carnivore, and I was having heart palpitations. I had worn a heart monitor, and they're like, okay, you need to go on this medicine. I don't like medicine. So I'm like, what can I do? And I found carnivore. That's how I found carnivore, because I was having heart palpitations and I did not want to go on medicine. And within 3 weeks, my 15-year insomnia was gone.
Huh.
My chronic 2-year back pain, and I mean daily back pain, was gone. And my heart palpitations were gone.
Wow.
And I no longer have food noise screaming at me. I hosted a baby shower today for one of my dear friends. There was
Cake. I made chocolate dipped pretzels. There were Rice Krispie treats. There was punch. There were nuts and fruit trays.
I touched nothing. Nothing. I ate beef jerky before I went. I probably could have had something better, but I was stressed for time.
Yeah.
And none of that tempted me. None of it. Whereas before, I probably would have snuck afterward. I'm fat. I don't want people to see me eating cake. but I'm going to eat that cake once I've boxed it up and nobody else sees me. I don't have to live with that anymore. Freedom. It's just amazing freedom for me.
Oh, that's so good. I guarantee you there are some people right now watching who are thinking, me too, sister, me too. I am so free. But there are others watching who are like, what does that even mean? They've never felt it. They just feel imprisoned by these
Yes.
constant addictions and food thoughts. And I was there too.
Yeah.
And it feels impossible that that could go away. A lifelong sweet tooth, a lifelong insatiability,
Yes.
bottomless pit, I was called the
Yes.
bottomless pit. And now it's just gone. Yeah.
Gone.
What a gift. I'm so happy for us both.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
So good. So for you, there is nothing on any table that you're going to see this holiday season that is worth giving all that up.
No, there's not, because my husband and I went on vacation, let's say a year ago, because I started this Labor Day 2023.
Okay.
The best day to probably start because of all the hamburgers, right? All the hamburger
Yeah.
patties on Labor Day. So it was a fabulous day to start. And in April, we went on vacation and I did really good for first few days. And he's like, oh, just have this. And so, I mean, we're talking about a Caesar salad with croutons.
Okay.
And then we had a couple of slices of pizza. 3 days of not binging on food, but eating out of what I prefer during mealtime.
Yes.
Agony,
Oh.
complete lower back pain. I've noticed that my jaw, I can't close my mouth. This joint, I guess, inflammation. I can't close my mouth if I eat something I'm not supposed to. And all of these, I would have just ignored as I'm getting old and I'm having pain. And this is just life. It is not life.
No.
First of all, it's not living, and you don't have to live that way.
Yes. Oh, so good. You guys see why I invited her to come on here, right? So good. Hey, also, I want to tell you, as if all of those are not enough reasons for people to not cheat or go off plan. Just today, I was listening to this lady. I'm going to link to the video, Wendy, but she went on Homestead House channel and they were talking about whether or not you should have a cheat day. She said that in our gut microbiome, we have these absolutely necessary, important, beautiful, healthy gut bacteria. She said that this healthy gut bacteria, though, only lives and survives on fat and protein, which I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say that before. And this healthy gut bacteria is responsible for the creation of dopamine and serotonin. And that's why there's that huge gut-brain connection. When we're sick in the gut, when people's gut bacteria is off, then they're mentally unwell too. But then she also talked about the harmful pathogenic bacteria, we'll just call it the bad bacteria, only survives on sugars and starches. But she said that if you do not have any sugar or starch, it takes approximately 25 days for the first wave of that bad gut bacteria, the harmful junk, to die off, which is partly why at around the 3 to 4 week mark, when people start carnivore, they'll get some die off symptoms where things will flare back up and they're like, oh my gosh, I was feeling better and now I'm not. Sometimes that's oxalate dumping, but sometimes she says it's this gut bacteria dying off, and that if you just stay strong through that, you'll feel much better. But then she went on to say that there are some bacteria that don't die off for another 6 months, another 9 months, and then some of the most harmful junk doesn't die off until they are deprived from sugar and starch for up to 2 years.
Wow.
And what she was saying is when people finally get this healing, let's say they started back in August of this year and they're finally feeling better, but you know what? For Christmas, Wendy, I'm just going to live a little. I'm just going to have some of that stuff, my Aunt Sally's casserole.
Yeah.
And what this lady was saying, by the way, she works for the Integrated Health Foundation and she works with people who are really sick. She says some of these folks have been sick for years, decades, doctors couldn't help. And what they really try to emphasize to these guys is it's not just going off plan for a day. You're literally going to feed resuscitate this gut bacteria, which is partly responsible for cravings, by the way.
Yeah.
Part of the reason you and I are free is our microbiome has changed.
Right.
So if anyone's contemplating, maybe I will go off plan for a day, think about the gut, those little bacteria, feed it good stuff, and don't bring that junk back. Isn't that kind of interesting?
It is very interesting. I knew you were going to say sugar and starches. I knew you were going to say that's what it feeds off of. It's
Yeah.
not surprising at all.
But it's not like one day, one bite feeds them for just a day. You got to go through that die-off all over again.
All
You're
over
kind of
again.
resetting part of that clock.
Yeah.
And when I heard that today, I thought, I bet if more people knew that, they'd be less likely to just have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yeah. It made me not want to try Aunt Sally's bread pudding just to make her happy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if any of you are watching, you think, okay, I hear what Wendy has said, her story. I hear this thing about the gut biome. I'm convinced I do not want to go off plan. You sold me, ladies. I'm going to stay carnivore through the holidays.
Yeah.
Wendy and I are going to talk through how. How are you going to do that? Because I'm here to tell you, it is not just as simple that first holiday season as a carnivore is going, okay, I'll stay carnivore. Because you and I have heard how that it does not always go that way for people. All right, visualizing the event ahead of time. I just encourage people to really, while they're at home and calm, picture the people that are going to be there, even imagine the conversations. Wendy, do you ever kind of role play in your own brain, or is that just me?
Oh, no, I do. I do. You know, the people who are going to be forcing their dish, but you have to try it. You've always loved it. And then you have to work through that conversation, or, maybe take some and don't eat it. Or, you have to figure out how you're going to address it.
Yeah, picture Aunt Sally, picture the bread pudding, and don't do it on the drive there, because if you have any social anxiety, like you're going to be a little anxious already. I'm talking picture it all at home and have a plan. Know what you deem acceptable or not. Are you going to be okay with having, well, Wendy, when you're at a party, are you okay with cheese and pepperoni? Do you make
For me personally, yes. Yes, I'm fine with pepperoni. I'll do pepperoni. So yeah, that would be fine for me.
Yeah, it's not something I sit around and eat at my house all the time.
Right.
But if
Right.
they've got a pepperoni tray and some cheese slices,
Yes.
it's a party. It's Christmas.
right.
It doesn't hurt my body. That's the difference,
Same.
right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. Next tip. I don't know if you ever take food with you, but I'm here to tell you, I'm showing up with some food. It's either going to be secret food, purse bacon, right? Some pre-cooked bacon in my purse, or I'm just going to publicly show up. And here's what I figure. How many hosts are really going to be annoyed if you show up and say, I know you didn't ask us to bring anything, but I hope you don't mind me sharing.
Right.
Oh, well, how dare you, right? I mean,
Wouldn't be bothered in the least.
no, I'm hosting an event at my house this Thursday. I hope people show up with everything carby they plan to eat.
Exactly.
Yeah, bring it on. So I just wrote down some ideas here. Charcuterie trays, deviled eggs, a platter of bacon, a crock pot full of roast beef. I love showing up with a big platter of flanken ribs. They take 7 minutes in an air fryer. So I just do drawer full after drawer full of flanken ribs before I go. Or I'll stop by Publix and get a big old mess of chicken wings. They have non-breaded, non-sauce chicken wings. I even put them in a dish as if I cook them. It looks so much more professional. And of course, bacon wrapped scallops, bacon wrapped chicken strips, bacon wrapped anything that holds still. What's your go-to? What do you tend to show up with if you're gonna take food with you?
I'd say chicken wings. Everybody loves chicken wings. No one is ever going to turn down chicken wings. And Buffalo Wild Wings, they cook in beef tallow, and theirs are just phenomenal. So no one's ever going to be upset that you showed up with those.
Yes, and if the party happens to be on a Tuesday, BOGO at
Yeah.
the Buffalo Wild Wings. You're getting your chicken wings twice as many for the same price, cooked in
There you
beef. All right. I do sometimes eat something before I go because I do not like to show up super hungry at an event if I don't know that there will be food I can eat or if I'm not bringing a lot of food. And then, if you do eat before you go and you're not hungry, you get the opportunity to look dainty. Or, I'm not going to lie, there is the whole take an entire rotisserie chicken approach, which is I don't need to look dainty. I'm going to sit here and barehandedly eat this entire animal right in front of you because I don't really care about dainty. But I think if someone is concerned, maybe just eat before you go.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm curious to know if you do this trick. I hear people recommend it. Put some non-tempting vegetables or sides on your plate. Just move them around. You don't have to eat them because you're going to look normal.
Mhm.
But you and I, turns out, we're both 45, and I think we're approaching the age where we don't care if we look normal.
No, I don't. I'm not shy. And when I started carnivore, everyone knew I started carnivore. I didn't try to hide it. I didn't try to lie about it. I've been very vocally carnivore from day one. So yeah, no, I don't need veggies on my plate. I'll just have meat. And I'll tell you why. I'm not shy about it.
Yeah, I like that. The other night when you told me that you weren't shy, I thought, wow, she is very gutsy for someone so young. I can't get over the fact that you're 40. I was like, wow, I didn't have that confidence in my 20s. Amazing.
You're
So
making me feel good.
I hope so. Good. And I'll tell you the other reason I don't put veggies on my plate. If green bean juice touches my meat, I'm not okay. I do not like the residual vegetable juices on my food. Oh. All right. I would suggest that people also have a plan for after the party. There is something called post-event collapse syndrome that Dr. Joan Ifland talks about quite a bit. She is an expert in the field of addiction. And what that is people go to an event or vacation and they have such, like, their guard is up. They're ready for war and they fight through it and they're solid. They give a phenomenal performance. They eat no carbs and then they get home. And I think our dopamine goes down after an event or after a vacation. And then you go home, maybe you're by yourself and you go, man, pat on the back. I did it. And then people end up binging on carbs.
Mhm.
So I don't know if it's going home to the empty house. Maybe they didn't have meat cooked. Maybe it's the letdown of dopamine.
Yeah.
But I try to sort of talk to myself on the way home or even at the party and say, when I get out of here, I'm going to take off these heels. I'm going to get out of this dress. I'm going to put on some cozy sweatpants and I have a steak ready to throw in the air fryer while I change clothes.
Yeah.
And it is going to be so comfy. I'm not going to have to make any small talk. I can just, because I don't know, our party's a little bit, do you have to de-stress after an
They're
event?
draining. Yes.
Yes. Okay. I know some people feel energized. I hear that those people exist. Energized by being around parties, but sometimes it's like just remind yourself when you get home, you don't have to small talk and wear heels and pretend to eat green bean juice. You're just going to eat a giant steak and it's going to be wonderful. And
Yes.
yeah, that tends to get me through something.
Yeah.
It will be over. All right. Do you look at menus before you go to a restaurant?
That's a must. And even if I've been there before, I will still look at that menu again every time before I go anywhere. I always look at the menu.
Me
It
too.
just makes it so much easier.
Yes. Oh, I hate it when I go somewhere. I'm like, oh my gosh, is there going to be anything? Is there? Usually there is, unless it's a vegan restaurant. And if it is, just cancel, go home, cook a steak. All right. Like,
Yeah.
nobody has time for that. But most every place you could either order those naked chicken wings, some burger patties,
Yep.
a plank of salmon, bacon, a side of eggs.
Yep.
But I just feel calmer knowing what
Me
it's going
too.
to be. Yeah. Have a non-acceptance speech for the food pushers. So you have said that you'll just tell them exactly why you don't. And I think that's really great. I wrote down here, you could tell people exactly why you don't eat anything other than meat. I could share that plants have fiber, that it hurts my belly, IBS issues. I could explain that my glucose stays steady, my insulin stays low now that I don't eat carbs.
Right.
I could explain, oh, like you, I was also inflamed from carbohydrates. I had boils and painful episodes of costochondritis. I could tell them that our bodies get everything we need from animal products
Yes.
without any of the junk we don't need. We could call it an elimination diet, talk about food sensitivities. We could even mention our weight loss. We could
Yes.
pass out copies of The Carnivore Diet by Dr. Sean Baker. We could give a PowerPoint presentation about the joys of carnivory and do interpretive dance. Or we could just say, no, thank you.
No, thank
No, thank you. Don't you feel like that should be flipping enough, Wendy?
it is enough, but it's not. And if you go down this path, you will find that people find it acceptable to eat a sleeve of Oreos,
Yes.
but not acceptable to only eat meat.
Mm,
But it's a hill I'll die on.
yeah.
I'll gladly scream that it's for me. And I support it. And now I have people ask about it. Those who doubted me over a year ago now ask questions. So, the proof is in how I feel and how it's transformed me. So,
I love answering all that when somebody asks.
yes.
But as far as just like, don't you want any of this? Don't you want any of that? I tend to just go with the, oh, no, thank you. I'm good. You could also, folks, you could throw out some diversion tactics like, oh, no, thank you. I am totally happy and good. And then compliment their home, compliment their outfit, talk politics. They'll forget what's on your plate right away. Hey, how about that election? Oh my gosh. Okay, well, nice talking to you.
Right.
Then they'll forget about the lack of carbs. I was talking to a friend this weekend and she said if anybody gets too pushy with me about putting other foods on my plate, I just use the key phrase explosive diarrhea and they leave it alone.
I think it would probably shut the conversation down pretty quickly.
Yes. Okay, for me, I remind myself that the real struggle starts after the first lick, taste, or bite. And so I sometimes describe the limbic system, the reward system of the brain, as being like the lizard brain, right? And I got that from Dr. Joan Ifland also. I didn't get the puppet from her. I got the puppet from a group member named Donna. But the greatest and probably stupidest lie of all time is if you just take one bite, you'll get it out of your system.
Yeah, never worked for me.
No, it's literally the only way it gets in your system, right?
Right.
Like, how does that get it out of my system? But did you ever hear that little voice before? If you just have a little, it'll get out of your system.
Yeah. No.
When the limbic system gets the first lick, taste, or bite of anything addictive, it actually shuts down the prefrontal cortex. And they can watch this on a brain scan. The activity of our thinking parts of the brain, the decision-making part of the brain slows down when addiction takes over. And so then it's like cutting the brakes on a vehicle. Like, good luck. If you couldn't stop before you had the bite, not probably likely to happen now.
Right.
Do you crochet or knit by any chance?
Oh, it's so funny. Before we got on this call, I was talking to a friend who has tried to teach me how to crochet. I can't pick it up. I've tried.
Okay.
I wish I did. I'm awful.
Well, here is a new reason to consider it. If you're ever at a party, you could be a total party animal like me. The hippest of the hip, Wendy. And I take her along a little bag with a ball of yarn and my needle. I'm just a crocheter. I don't know how to knit, so I can't handle two at a time. Just one. But if there's 2 hours of a party and people are talking and eating and they're just going back and here's one thing I really appreciated about the food at a party is it was for someone who's struggling socially to come up with things to say. It's like an activity is literally just going back and forth and eating. So you kind of got to replace the activity with either nonstop talking to people, which some people choose. I respect that. Or an alternate activity. And for me, if there's a dog or a cat present, do you like animals?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be all about just, sitting down, trying to get the cat to come to my lap, trying to get the dog to come over. If there's a baby, I am the first to volunteer to walk and bounce. Oh, I walk and bounce all night. Love it. I can push the baby around the stroller, play games with the kids outside, or I'll just sit and crochet. So, I don't know. Alternate activity. Maybe there's some motivation to work with your friend.
I will try again. It's just ironic. We were just talking about it. I'll try again.
Okay, this is your sign.
This is the sign to try again.
Learn to crochet. And then my last tip, I don't know if you'll have others, but just step away if you need to.
Mhm.
Go to the bathroom, step outside. Truly, just a minute alone in the mirror, alone with the Lord, alone
Mhm.
with your thoughts. Really connect to why am I doing this? What do I want to feel tomorrow morning?
Yes. Yeah.
Tomorrow, do you ever think about your tomorrow self?
Yes. Yeah, especially now because I know that those things will make me feel awful.
Yeah.
And I love waking up pain-free every day.
Yes. To the idea that tomorrow I'm going to wake up with cravings, poor sleep, leg cramps, weight gain, bloating, digest, explosive diarrhea. Come on, let's throw that phrase out there again. Yeah, just step away long enough to really have that little self conversation in prayer for strength,
Mhm.
and then just a few slow, deep breaths. Okay, have you had a birthday as a carnivore, Wendy?
I turned 45 doing carnivore. My husband took me to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse
Yes.
and I got the most massive ribeye you have ever seen.
Oh, it makes me so happy.
It was fabulous.
Yes. And I assume that you gave some clues about what would make you happy for your birthday.
He knew meat. It just
Yeah.
it had to be meat. So we got the best meat that we could find.
For a birthday, sometimes people just sit back and hope for the best. And then when people bring them a cake and treats, it's like, oh, I felt like I had to. Baby,
Mhm.
it's your birthday. Be proactive. Tell people what you want.
Right.
Don't expect them to read minds. We don't need to be demure about this. I just tell my husband, he knows now after many birthdays this way, but I would say, I just want a big steak with some blue cheese crumbles on the side and candles in it. I would
Yeah.
be thrilled. And it's not like, I don't need a cake this year. It's like, I want a birthday steak. Make
Yes.
it happen. And they
Yep.
will because they love
Yes.
you. And
They
if
will.
yeah, and if they don't, get new people. That's terrible.
I agree.
Okay, some thoughts that I've had in some moments of temptation. I'll just read through these kind of quickly. I've come too far to go back now. It took me X number of months to get off X number of pounds, and I don't want them back. You can keep them. Not worth it. There is nothing here that's worth going through withdrawal again. These people here at this party can think what they want to think and eat what they want to eat. But spoiler, we will too, right, Wendy?
Absolutely.
These folks here do not owe us any explanation for their food choices or their health. And same.
Same.
My team, Wendy, is not eating this mess. And I'm not either. It helps for me to know because sometimes addiction will say, you're the only one,
Yes.
right? It's just
Yes.
you, poor you. Everybody else is eating it, not Wendy.
Yep.
Yeah. And we have an entire group. The Monday 12 o'clockers, they're not eating that mess.
We are not.
No. And it helps to think my people don't eat that. Like,
Yeah.
ew,
Yeah.
that's not food. My tomorrow morning self, we sort of alluded to this. Tomorrow morning self is going to be so happy I stuck with meat.
Yep.
No one ever regretted one bite that they didn't take. And now we have this one, thanks to the video I will link below. My gut
Yep.
biome is going to take a minimum of 28 days to get over this. And I don't want to feed those sick bacteria for the next 2 years just so I can taste pie.
Right.
Also, I don't know about you, Wendy, but I've already tasted pie. We've done that.
We've done that. Exactly.
What I haven't done in the past is been completely free and from food cravings and healthy. So,
Yes.
yeah, let's do that instead of pie.
Agreed.
Is there anything else that you can think of that we haven't covered?
I just want to say I've tried every diet, every diet, you name it, and I've tried it.
Yeah.
And it would work for a little while and then I'd gain it all back because I just couldn't ignore the noise.
Mm.
And I've lost successfully around 75 pounds so far. I do have more weight to lose, but I've lost around 75 pounds.
Wow.
But I tell everyone, I have not maintained this way of eating because of the weight loss.
Mm.
It is because of how I feel. If it was the weight loss, it would have been like every other diet I've ever tried. But it is because of how I feel is why I keep eating meat. So for me, it's just wonderful.
I love the focus there. You're right. How many of us went off of every other diet because it was just the weight?
Right.
rice cakes and running. We felt like garbage. We were losing
Right.
weight, but we felt like cabbage soup diets. People who tried
Yes.
that. You're
Yep.
losing weight, but you feel awful. So
Awful.
you can't keep that up.
Yep.
Again, the phrase explosive diarrhea comes to mind. Cabbage soup diet is no way to live.
No, it's not.
Yeah. All right, Wendy, let's talk to people who say, well, what if you do go off plan? What if it was yesterday? Somebody who went off plan, they messed up yesterday. Our video came one day too late for their Friendsgiving or something. What would be your advice to somebody who did mess up?
Just start right back. We're all human. We
Yeah.
are not perfect. Just start right back. And you'll be glad you did. And your body will be glad you did. And you will have no regrets that you started right back.
So like 5 days of water fasting first, 10 days of doing your rosaries and apology for eating the cart. No, none of that.
No, it's okay just to start right back.
I do get some weird questions about what should I do since I messed up yesterday.
Yeah.
Should I do a sardine diet tomorrow? Should I do? And I'm like, I'm thinking your cravings might be worse. You probably just want to find the most delicious meat that you love more than any
Exactly.
other meat and eat
Yes.
as much of it as you possibly want.
Right.
Yeah, why make this harder with sardines?
I know you like them, but no, I can't. So
And
I
that's
would
okay.
probably just eat bacon. Just
Yeah.
eat bacon and be happy.
What kind of a great day would that be? Like, you know what? I messed up yesterday, so I'm going to do a bacon fast.
Yeah.
Or a bacon, well, as Dr. Berry would say, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs in
Exactly.
unlimited quantities.
Yeah.
Because I don't deserve to be punished, I deserve to feel good. I think that's the attitude that people come at it with sardines. It's because they think they deserve punishment
Punish.
for
Yeah.
what they've done. And what we're saying is, no, you've already got the punishment. You have experienced the pain.
Yes.
You've probably got your joints aching again. Your cravings are back. You're probably bloated and you feel kind of bad about this.
Right.
There's the punishment. You don't need sardines. You're punished enough. We just say acknowledge the pain. I do think that's important. Let's
Yeah.
go ahead and fully acknowledge exactly what caused these specific issues.
Yeah.
And I even tell folks like write it down. I ate pizza. In
Yeah.
your case, I ate the pizza and here's what it did to me. Don't just say and I felt bad. Describe that. Like specifically bad. Just
Yeah.
like you did earlier. And then I would write down, was it worth it? Specific, right. It's never worth it.
It's never worth it.
But I would write that down.
Mhm.
It was not worth it. Remember that. Get out a marker, underline it. It wasn't worth it. Because
Right.
sometimes in the future, addiction will say, it really wasn't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
We got over it.
Yeah.
Remember, it was worth it. And you think, but was it worth it? Hold on. It was not worth it. I think that's important. And also, if they can show up and speak it to somebody that they trust, like
Yes.
share that with somebody. It sounds like you shared with your husband.
Oh, yes. He knows. He knows, next vacation, I am not doing that. I was awful. I was so miserable. He would be like, please, honey, please don't. I don't want to see you go through that.
Good. Whereas if you just internalize that, the next vacation, you might have a husband saying, it's just vacation. It's just
Just
pizza.
vacation.
Yeah. Why don't we moderate, Wendy?
Right. Yeah.
That's what my husband used to say. Moderation, Kelly. Oh, thank you. Then I will have moderate explosive diarrhea.
Problem solved.
Yeah, problems. Just have some moderate joint pain. Thank you for that helpful advice.
Just a little.
I'm sure everybody watching this can absolutely see why I asked you to come on here today. You're just so charming.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I was really glad that you spoke up in the group the other day. And I also loved how bold you were in talking about, no, I'm not going to sacrifice one thing about my health for
No.
your feelings. And it's not because we're mean.
No, right. Right. And again, it's the judgment over my meat and your carbs. And I don't judge anyone for eating their carbs. I don't judge anyone for choosing to eat the way they want to eat. I will be supportive of whatever you have chosen. And I just demand the same respect.
Yeah, that's right. We're nice people. They could be
We
nice. We're not going to force feed sardines and bacon to people. Thank you, Wendy. Thanks for coming on here. And I'll see you
Great.
Monday.
12 o'clock. Can't wait.
12 o'clock. See you there.
All right. Have a great night.